So you want to be an entrepreneur. Are you sure? Are you sure? Because it's not easy. Actually, we'll get into that in a second. Gentlemen, welcome back to the Tiege Hanley Starting a Business, Building a Brand vlog. This one, big number 240. And before I get into anything, I'm going to hook my boy Josh up. All right, so there's a video that we recently launched on Tiege Hanley's YouTube channel about how to pick the best face wash for men. I know. It's Tiege Hanley. It should be like a 3-second video. I'm kidding. It's actually more in depth than that and talks about what you should look for when choosing a face wash, what you should have in it, what you should have not in it, to make sure that you are always looking fresh and killing it. Gentlemen, that video will be linked down below. It's Tiege though, if you're curious. Anyway, guys, hopefully you couldn't read this on the thumbnail. It's a list that I made because today I was thinking. Actually, yesterday I was thinking. I've been thinking about it a lot. I've been thinking about it since the age of 12, actually, and that is how to be an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur. Because there are a lot of people out there that are like, yo, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm starting a business, and check it out, isn't it awesome? And then you ask them, oh, how's your business going? And they're like, well, I never actually did it. Or I decided it wasn't really my thing or whatever, right? And that's your prerogative, and that is what you hear most often. But there are a select few of you that are not only going to be like, yo, I want to be an entrepreneur. I got a business. I got to do it. I'm going to do it. And hopefully someday I'm going to be able to sell it to Walmart or sell it to a big company. I'm kidding. You're going to hopefully make a living at it doing something that was your idea that you always have wanted to do, or something that you decided was a passion, or just something you're interested in. And so today what I have done is actually made a list, there's one on the back, of 10 things that you as a potential and future successful entrepreneur need to think about. Or at least these are things that I should have, or I wish I knew ahead of time, because they would have saved me a lot of heartache and some mistakes. And so that's what this vlog is all about. This vlog is about you and about helping you on your entrepreneurial journey, because it is not easy. The road is windy. It is long. For some of you, it's shorter than others, but it's the most rewarding thing out there. I mean, there is nothing better than being an entrepreneur. I would rather do my thing and create and fulfill my own destiny as opposed to helping somebody else create and fulfill theirs. And so this is something that I knew that I wanted to do from the age of 12 when I decided I wanted to own a fitness center, but that didn't work out, which is okay. I learned a lot, but I've also learned a lot through the other businesses that I have started. Some have been successful, some have not, some I've given up on, some I decided just wasn't for me. And so today what I'm going to do is go through this list, and then I'm going to look to see if there are any business questions we'll dive into. Actually, I'm going to get to this. I don't know. I'm feeling a little long-winded today. The first thing that every single entrepreneur, before they start, need to hear and understand and be prepared for emotionally, which you can never honestly be totally prepared for because it's going to be worse than you think, is that it's going to be uncomfortable. You are going to have really hard times, and some people are not meant for it. Some people are not cut out for that. My wife, she's not cut out to be an entrepreneur. Some people are just not. It's not what they need to do. And some people are better working for somebody else and having the leader tell them what to do, or having somebody else have the vision and having somebody else have the responsibility. And I think that's really what it is, because when you're an entrepreneur, it is like the buck stops with you. You shoulder all of the burdens. You shoulder all of the responsibilities. And it is hard, and you are going to stumble, you are going to have hurdles, you are going to be driving down that road to success land, and all of a sudden you're going to hit a speed bump, your tire's going to fall off, oh my God, I didn't expect to hit a deer. The second thing that every single entrepreneur needs is, of course, a good idea, right? And here's the thing, it's not just about having the idea, it's getting feedback from people that are not your friends or family before you actually decide that this is what I'm going to do. Because when you have an idea, at least when I have an idea, right away, I start thinking about, oh my God, this is going to make millions. I can't even die. Like, this is crazy. This is amazing. Then you start to do a little research and you realize, oh wait, this is already done, or this is happening. I can make it better though, and so I'm going to do it. Gentlemen, you've got to have that idea, right? Don't just be like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, and then go online and be like, what should I do? I don't know, right? There are a lot of people and a lot of courses online being like, yo, work from home, set up a Shopify account, drop ship Amazon product. Like that's not really like an entrepreneur, right? That's somebody looking to make easy cash, and there is no such thing. from what I have come to realize. And anybody selling you that, like we've talked about in a previous vlog, they're lying and trying to take your money, all right? If you're an entrepreneur, you've got something that you want to do. Now, if your dream is to sell Amazon products, then great, do it. If your dream is to, I don't know, like be a high ticket closer, then okay. But the chances of you actually, that's not the type of entrepreneur that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people that have an idea. They've got something they want to do, something that a nugget even if it's a nugget of a concept of something, you feed it, you pull the string on that sweater to see where it goes. But you also, part of that is getting feedback from other people that are not your family, because your family, your friends, they lie. Because they don't want to hurt your feelings, right? You come to them all excited and be like, oh my God, isn't this incredible? I'm going to make diamond paper clips. The market is going to be huge. And they're going to be like, that's great. That's all. Oh my God, everybody needs diamond paper clips. And you're like, yeah, everybody. Gentlemen, go to somebody who actually has actually not half a brain, I shouldn't say that, has the ability to be like, that idea sucks. Third thing that all entrepreneurs should do is build your credit. Gentlemen, you gotta get credit. And this is something that is going to become very apparent to you when you try to get money to start your business. There's a YouTuber that I've talked about on this channel before, Graham Stephan, who I have come to love. I love his stuff. In one of the articles that I believe it was CNBC did on him, it talked about mistakes that he's made. And one of the mistakes is not building credit fast enough. He's like, yo, I wish when I was 18 I would have gotten a credit card. Because credit and having the ability to borrow lets other people know that you are credit worth. Okay, let me explain this a little bit better. All right, so if you do not have any history of credit, right, and you go to a bank and you're like, hey, I want to start a hot sauce business and I need $1 million. I promise I'll give it back. They're going to be like, let me see your credit. They're going to check your credit score. Now, if you got crappy credit because you got all these like high interest credit cards and some other issues, you need to get rid of that. You need to figure out how to actually build your credit up, not figure out. You need to build your credit back. The best advice is to not get into bad financial debt and not pay your bills and have a bad credit score. But for me, I went through bankruptcy. And so that, totally like shattered my credit score. And then it was a constant, rebuilding. But the first thing I did once it actually came through was actually reach out to, I think it was Capital One. I said, hey, I need a credit card. Actually, when you file bankruptcy, you get bombarded in your mailbox by credit cards. They're like, yo, he can't file bankruptcy for another 7 years. So I'm going to give him credit. Now, when I started back developing and building my credit back after my bankruptcy, my limit was $300. But you know what you do? You borrow, you use it, then each month you pay it off. Do it again, pay it off. They're going to start to raise your rate. Now, the idea is that when you have a good credit score and you have the ability to borrow money, this lets other people know that you are credit worthy, meaning that you have borrowed before and you have paid your bills on time. If I lend him money to start his hot sauce business, chances are, based on the history of his credit, chances are he's going to pay me back. He's a solid dude. But if you got like a 200 credit score, right, you got all these things, all these defaults, all these people charging off and this and that, and you go and you're like, the business is going to be amazing. I promise. I know what it is. I promise. This time, you're special. I will pay you back. Yeah, right. Gentlemen, having credit, having the ability to borrow money is incredibly important when it comes to business, because most people, at a certain point, you're going to run into cash flow issues. And really, that's one of the biggest struggles and hurdles that a lot of entrepreneurs face. It's cash flow, right? And it's not that you're not spending too much. It's that, you've got expenses, you've got employees, you've got rent, you've got inventory, and inventory is your cash that's sitting on the shelf. And until you actually sell it, it's just cash sitting there, right? And so you've got to make sure that you've got enough while you're selling that in order to keep your business growing and then reorder. It's all about cash flow. And one thing that helps people and allows entrepreneurs to grow and get over the cash flow issue is credit, going and borrowing from a bank that you're using. And this is one of the first places that you can go is if you set up a business and you set up a business account, right? You start using that bank, get a credit card from that bank, show this bank, develop a relationship with this bank, start talking to the people at the bank and say, hey, what do I need to do? What am I looking at in terms of borrowing money? Like, you need to develop a relationship with the bank that you're using And a lot of times the smaller banks, the small community banks are going to be better suited. You know, the big banks like the BB&Ts and the SunTrust and the Bank of Americas, like they have much more strict guidelines when it comes to loaning. Same like Keith, my accountant last week. If you missed that vlog, by the way, that vlog was probably one of the most valuable vlogs that we've done here on the channel because it's all about taxes and corporate structure. If you missed that one, you probably should go back last week and watch it. Anyway, what we said in the vlog is that I was trying to buy this building, but I didn't have credit. I didn't have a lot of credit because when I filed bankruptcy, I was like, I'm not going to be, borrowing a lot of money because I don't want debt. I hated debt. I was scared of debt. And so I had that one Capital One credit card with a limit of, I think I grew it to like $8,000 they were giving me. But in terms of multiple credit cards, multiple people giving me credit, I didn't have it. And so I had to go to a small community bank and have my accountant sort of like vouch for me that yes, he is credit worthy, you should loan him the money. And it didn't matter that I had a lot of money in the bank that I was getting ready to put down as cash, as a deposit. It didn't matter. They need to see credit. And so it is critical and important for you to actually build your credit as soon as possible. Start young, gentlemen, start young. The fourth thing that every entrepreneur should know or do, in my opinion, is don't quit your day job before your business or your entrepreneurial endeavor is producing enough revenue, easily enough revenue for you to step away from your job. There is nothing that will take the fun. There is nothing that will take the excitement. There is nothing that takes the joy out of life than when you have like the bills, right? The bills are piling up. You've got to live. You're like, oh God, how am I going to eat? How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to do any of this? Guys, that takes all the fun. It also robs you of your creativity. But if you have a job, right, 9 to 5, you know it's temporary. And here's the other thing. When you're an entrepreneur, when you have a job and you're working for somebody else and you have like your little side thing that you're working on and you're developing and you're focusing on, it makes going to work a little bit easier. It makes going and reporting to the man a little bit more tolerable because you know you're working and there's a goal in mind. And so what I'd recommend is do not quit your job. That is a huge mistake that I see a lot of entrepreneurs make. They're like, yo, I just got a loan. I'm going to quit my job and do it. Really? Really? Are you sure? Are you sure you should do that? And my answer is no, you shouldn't do it. Work until the business is able to support you. Now, if it is critical that you can't build this business without doing it full time, then that's a different story. But you've got to have, you've got to have enough money in the bank or in reserves to support yourself for a longer period of time than you think you need to support yourself. And that is one of the things. I think when it comes to people asking for money and getting loans, they do two things. They ask for more than they need, and then the other thing they do is they ask for not enough. They think, no, this will be enough to get me by. Guys, get more. You can always pay it back. You can always give it back, quicker or sooner. But if you don't have enough, then you're going to have to go to them for more money. Do not quit your job before it's time, before your business is able to support you comfortably. Not like the first month you're like, yo, I think I've got enough to, You're going to sleep better if you have a steady paycheck or steady income coming in while you build your baby. For me personally, after my fitness center closed, I was personal training, going to people's homes and doing like in-house like personal training. I did that for, I would say, 3 years. Even when my image consulting business was doing okay and making some money, I still was not comfortable enough letting it go. But then there comes a point at which it's like, okay, I am losing money by doing this. I need to actually cut it. And I remember the last session I ever trained. And I remember walking away and being super nervous, but it was also exhilarating and exciting. And you're going to be able to step away faster if you remember the fifth tip, which is keep your expenses low. One of the biggest things that drives me crazy is when I hear people talk about, I'm going to start a business, and then they start talking about all the sexy things, right? I need this desk, and I need this building. And these business, gentlemen, you got to keep your overhead as low as possible, period. All right, you got to save money where you can, and do not get super excited. And that's where a lot of businesses fail, honestly, is that they think that they're going to be like automatically successful, like right away. They go and they spend a lot of money, and then their monthly overhead is like super high, and they should have been working out of a spare room in their house. Guys, you got to take it easy. Go slow. There'll be time for you to spend more money. But right now, it's about delayed gratification. And I think that is one of the words or the phrases that you need to understand as an entrepreneur. It is about delayed gratification. Put off now, don't get now, because in the future, it's gonna pay off. The sixth thing that each and every successful entrepreneur needs to do is create a business plan, right? Right, exactly. Everybody knows that. Well, here's the thing. Business plans are great, and they are critical if you are going to be going to a bank to get money. They're going to want to see your business plan. How are you going to make money? How are you going to spend money? How are you going to generate revenue, right? They're going to want to see that. Now, if you are not planning on taking money, do you need to do one? No, you don't need to do one, but it's a good idea. It's a good idea, not a good idea. It's critical for you to really look at things, right? Map it out. Right? What are your expenses going to be? What are your income? Where are the different benchmarks? What is your timeline? But here's the other part of that I really want to stress. It's not even as much about the business plan, like what you project and what you expect and what you think is going to happen. What you really need to think through is your marketing plan. How are you going to market your product? Because the world is filled with amazing, life-changing products that nobody's heard of because they had the product, they had the idea, but they didn't know how to actually get it out there to the people. And that is the thing that I have come to realize through my multiple businesses, in my opinion, is the number one thing that you better pay attention to. You know, of course, have a good product, right? Have a great product, but it's about how are you letting people know about your product or idea. This is more important than, honestly, than like everything. In my opinion, other than great products. You need to figure out how to sell the shit. The seventh thing that every successful entrepreneur needs to do is have a little bit of this, which is focus. Do not chase all of the shiny objects, right? And that is something that you're gonna have to deal with. That is something you're gonna have to face. Because if you are a smart entrepreneur, you are constantly learning, you're analyzing the environments, the markets, you're seeing what your competitors are doing. But one of the issues is that when you do this, it's opening yourself up to, ooh, they're doing this. I need to try that. Or this would be great because it's working for that company. Gentlemen, you need a little bit of focus, all right? Do not get distracted by the latest and greatest this and that. Now, does it work for your business? Is it going to help you move the needle? Possibly, but you cannot constantly be trying to grab things and change directions. Guys, you've got to stay focused. You also need to understand that you're going to have to work when it's not fun. It ain't always fun. It's hard work. And I think that is one of the places in the journey or on the road of entrepreneurship that a lot of people basically turn off and decide to turn around and go home, is that it stops being fun. They think that when they start a business, it's supposed to be nothing but, you know, success and a meteoric rise and tons of cash coming in. But it's hard. And you've got to be prepared to do the hard work when you're not getting rewarded, when people aren't patting you on the back, when people aren't leaving you amazing reviews on your website. You've got to be willing to focus, do the hard work, and not chase the shiny objects. The eighth thing that every successful entrepreneur needs to do is test, analyze, and adjust. And that is something that we have been doing at Tiege Hanley from day one. All right, you're going to launch with a product. You're going to launch with an idea. You're going to launch with a service. Now, when you launch, you've done all your homework. You've done the research as much as you can, right? You've just got to get it out. Or they overthink it. Analysis, what is it? Paralysis by analysis, right? They're so busy trying to make sure that everything is perfect, that they overcomplicate, that you just got to jump at some point. And then you've got to test it. How does everything work? Does it respond? The market, all right? What's happening? Right? And then you're going to need to test it some more. You need to analyze it, and then you need to adjust. Guys, it is a constant testing, analyzing, and adjusting. It's all about the data. You also need to listen to your customers. Your customers are going to tell you, these are your cheerleaders. These are the people that are spending their hard-earned bucks on your product. Your customers are your cheerleaders, and if they're telling you, yo, your eye cream smells fishy, guess what? Your eye cream probably smells fishy. But that being said, you need to not chase every shiny object, right? Every piece of feedback, you got to understand. Some is constructive, others is not. You've got to take it all. You've got to sort of analyze it. You've got to adjust your business. You've got to adjust your pricing. You've got to adjust your strategy and then move forward, all right? But do not fall into the trap of thinking that you have the idea, this is the way it's going to be, and you're just going to go and go and go and go without actually listening to the feedback. Guys, you got to listen to the feedback, you've got to analyze, you've got to adjust, but you ultimately need to test. And last but certainly not least, the 10th thing that every entrepreneur that's going to be successful needs to hear and understand is that if it ain't working, it's time to move on and try something else. All right? Do not fall into the trap of year after year after year banging your well-coiffed hair against the wall thinking that, oh, at some point it's going to turn around. Gentlemen, you better see some incremental wins throughout your journey, right? If it's just never happening and you just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper into debt and thinking, oh, if I just mortgage my house and if I just sell my kidney, it's going to get better. Gentlemen, you gotta chill. You got to realize that sometimes the first option is not the best option. And that's something that I had to learn, right? I mean, think about it, right? I thought that a fitness center, that was my only option, but it wasn't until I didn't have any other options and I had to basically file bankruptcy that I had to look for something else. Now, the good news is that if you keep your eyes open and you look around, you're going to find something. And the lessons that you learn from that first failure is going to pay dividends beyond your wildest dreams. Guys, it's about learning from your failures. It's about moving on. Kevin O'Leary, I think he said 3 years. If something isn't working in 3 years, it's time to shoot the bleeding dog and move on. You've just got to be honest with yourself. And I think that's one of the hardest things to do. At least it is for me. Being honest with myself, when things aren't working, You always want to believe. You always want to keep the faith. You always want to keep grinding and hustling and being amazing. And someday I'm going to get it if I just work a little harder. Sometimes the hardest thing you've got to do is actually know when to call it quits. Guys, that's where I am going to call this vlog quits at. Gentlemen, if you've got a business question down below, start it with business question and ask it. Next week, I promise. I've been doing a crappy job answering your business questions and giving you Tiege Hanley updates. Tiege Hanley, we are just working, like we're in the trenches. A lot of things have been happening, and next week I'm going to give you an update. I'm going to make a list because apparently lists work for me. Anyway, guys, we love you more than a double monk strap shoes. Once again, if you've got a business question down below, start it with business question and ask it next week. I'm going to get to them. Also, next week, Tiege Hanley update. Finally, I'm sorry for neglecting you, Tiege. I love you. Gentlemen, you're amazing. Good luck. Entrepreneurship, it's incredible, but just be ready because it's not easy, but when you get there, it is amazing.